What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the very first edition of Lindy's Locks Live. Yeah, Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks that you know and love here. We got producer Jacob over in Europe here for a week and didn't really know what I was going to do while he was gone because I don't have the time to put the graphics in. I simply tell him when I make bets, he puts them up in graphics. And well, we have all the graphics pre-made for you. We have the great graph screen and all of the things that we throw together. I'm just still emotionally recovering from watching Rory McIlroy win. But that being said, I got 3 MLB bets right out of the gate. But as always, I want to talk you through every single game. If you're looking for a bet right now, here you go. Let's go Atlanta, Toronto, under 9. There you go. If you just want bets, we can do that. Minus 102. I'll talk you through the process, though, and kind of how I want to do things. I got some cool background music going. I'm not even sure where we're going to go with this entirely, but I do know that I'm excited to be live on YouTube and X with you simultaneously. I'm going to turn this background music down a little bit here, but we're going to screen share Odd Chopper. We're going to screen share Fangraphs. We're going to screen share Baseball Savant. There are tons of things that I want to talk you through as we go along. So hit that like button so we can keep doing this throughout this entire week because, well, more bets from me is generally good because generally I'm good. Unlike last Friday where I was complete dog doo-doo, and I do feel bad because, again, premium Discord, I mean, I owe you boys. I owe you girls. I owe everybody for that ridiculous performance from Friday. But Saturday, down a unit. Today ended up a lot because, well, Prize Picks ended up hitting for the people underdog as well. I'll talk you through the intricacies and all the ins and outs of everything here on today's slate. But I did want to start with a bet, just because I think that we're going to uncover some bets together as we go, as we're talking about. And yeah, Adam's Digest live. I love this. You love this. I love this too. F it. We'll do it live. Pete Armstrong, PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong. It's okay that you put the names out of order. I'm so mad at this dude. I'm so unbelievably tilted by his face. Like, come on now. We're just hitting exit velocity bombs. Well, I don't bet him. Think about the first 2 slates of the year. How many units? Well, actually just 1.5 total. But the guy's a dum-dum, and now he's just absolutely smashing baseballs. They put up 16 runs yesterday, 16-0, slacking of the Dodgers, and now he's hitting at 412. Did you see the launch angle on this thing too? Because I'm a nerd, and this is like all I pay attention to all the time. But the launch angle on that home run was 42 degrees, an absolute moonball. Optimally, you're looking for 26 to 30. Like, that's the optimal barrel number you're looking for with the 98 mile per hour plus bomb coming at you here. When dongs, we can probably talk a little bit of dongs. We can talk a little bit of goodness here. But as I said, we're going to start breaking down every single game as we go. Any questions you guys have in the chat? Love to see everybody here hanging out with me tonight. Done a couple hours of research while I was watching the Masters. I'm sure you did as well. Corbin Carroll, yeah, he didn't get it. He hit it hard today. He hit it 111 miles per hour, my friend Jacob. It was painful. And yes, the amount of PCA people coming at me in my DMs, you wouldn't even believe it. So I'm glad everybody's enjoying it. But is Lindy alive? Yes, he is. So hit that like button. I want to start with this one because I do think that there's maybe some smoke and mirror stuff going on with Easton Lucas, but a lot of my process basically starts here. You have the entire slate of games, of which we are going to break down a ton coming your way for tomorrow. Now, it's a pretty limited slate, which makes it easier for me to do this. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could have counted these ahead of time. 9, 10, like 10, 11 games. So yeah, we've got a pretty easy way of kind of jumping into this slate because I don't have to be here for an hour and a half like I'm probably going to need to be on Tuesday when you change this and you see games going on forever. But what is nice is you're going to get this program now. This is going to be Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks for the week while producer Jacob is in Europe. A well-earned vacation, if you ask me. So I'm simply going to screen share and talk you through a little bit of my research process. To start things off, Wind Finder. If you look at the United States of America, obviously everybody's got different weather going on nonstop. I prefer Wind Finder. I like airports the most because if airports can't be trusted with weather, well, we've got some major problems. But I went ahead and put all of the weather inputs for each specific game that we're going to talk about. I put it on the side already. I already have it booked. I already have it covered. So we'll be able to talk about the wind directions and everything. It's kind of the tough part about doing this night before and people don't realize, like, Eric, how do you do the weather? I use Google. Google is really helpful, but as is windfinder.com. So anyway, we're going to continue on away from that purely because I think that there's a lot else that we need to cover. All right, we're live on X. People can see me on X. That makes me happy. You're on the Odd Shopper channel there. If you're here over on X, meteorologist Lindy, yeah, that's me. So I got it covered for you already. But fortunately for us, we're going to start in Toronto, and that's kind of the first play. It would be like if we were talking a month from now, the lock category. I try to get a lot of units down over the course of a day with the help of Portfolio EV, my own place, and then tailing other people within tails. Those are the three main ways that I go about getting my volume down. But you look at the weather forecast, it's 48 degrees in Toronto. I'm pretty sure they're going to have the roof closed. So knowing that, it makes it very easy for me to make this a jumping off point for our program. And that is where we're going to head to Easton Lucas. So Easton Lucas, you can kind of see everything that I've got on the screen for him so far. So far, so good. Obviously, 225x WOB is what you're looking for. I mean, this is like the sign of a good pitcher in the works. But I do think Easton Lucas has a couple of interesting talking points. So what do we think his outlook is going to be going forward, coming off of pretty limited samples? I mean, look, 12 innings last season, basically, in the major league level. Like there's no sample size there. You go to 2023, he had like a hot second that he was showing up here. So we got to look not at his batting. His batting would be bad. We do not want to look at his batting, but let's look at his 2025 through 2 starts so far this year. A couple of the good things: 1.32 xFIP here against lefties. That is elite. And when you're taking into account what we're dealing with here with the Atlanta Braves, well, I've preloaded a bunch of the split leaderboards. I have a couple of custom reports that I like to do that I like to upload. You can basically just upload everything, export data, everything that you're looking for right here. It'll jump into the top of Google Chrome or whatever your preferred browser is. Makes it easy to work with sheets. And that's kind of a lot of what I do. And eventually I'll share some of those as they look better. They're not, they're more functional for me than they are cosmetic at the moment. I love guys like Kyle Kerms, my guy Gun Dacker. They do an amazing job sharing MLB sheets, but I'm going to give you information and talk you through a little bit of the research. But look at what we got right now with Atlanta. Atlanta's an interesting ball club because they have been piss poor so far. As you can see, I've set this up just in the normal the data range that comes with it. You go to the team and the splits leaderboard, and we got left-handed pitching that we're staring at. And Atlanta, we are staring at a 24.2% K rate on the aggregate. And again, there's some fluctuation that needs to happen as we accumulate sample size. We're going to be able to really look at the team and kind of have like a blanket sample size that's going to mirror it. Now, every day is going to be a high variance event. You're going to have games where you have 12 hits, games where you have 2 hits. You're going to have the 16-run Cubs. You're going to have the 4-run Cubs. Like those are things that happen in baseball. But a 56 WRC plus, that's weighted runs created plus. You go up here. Usually, whenever you hover your little mouse over there, it doesn't do it on this custom report for whatever reason, or on the splits leaderboard, but on the main page, it does. You'll understand each one of those. But 56 WRC plus for Atlanta against left-handed pitching. Easton Lucas, that just happens to be a left-handed pitcher. Look at that. Look at that. We got this figured out, but some people don't always know what they're looking at when it comes to run values, and this is kind of the interesting one to me. Fastball run value. Let's take a look at his fastball here and maybe how it's changed. We had very limited sample sizes, but one thing we can have is an idea of what's going on with this. He's throwing this 57% of the time, his fastball. 61% of the time, he's throwing it to right-handed pitching, okay? Or to right-handed hitters, that is, sorry. As a lefty pitcher, throwing it primarily to righties. Obviously, fewer lefties that are going to be in the lineup when you have a lefty on the mound. That's math. And the lefties that you are going to face are generally really good. These are other things that you have to factor in to your sample size. Now, I very much, I'm going to just point this out. I don't know what to make of the spin being down or the whiff being up, but I do know that 2 games is not going to completely encapsulate who a pitcher is. And, well, wouldn't you know it, he was an away team against Boston. So how's Boston doing so far against left-handed pitching? Well, I think it will fascinate you that they're basically middle of the pack, 103 WRC plus. So we've got that kind of covered. Once again, this is my lefties. And then for this, I have righty just already queued up so that we don't have to waste any time. I can talk you more through this. But back to Easton Lucas. The Washington Nationals were the other start. Now, he's yet to give up a run. So far, limiting the walks as well. These are all good things. But let's jump into some of his minor league data, shall we? Because we have a lot more of that. And Easton Lucas, I think, is going to find himself not in some trouble by any means, but I do think that this is just small sample sizes. This is the kind of thing that I try to preach every single day, where you don't want to fall head over heels for it. But I do think that there's a way that we're going to find this, even with fastball velocity, if you were to like accumulate it over the course of the next month. I think we're going to find a little bit of success. Look at his last August, doing all right, 1.16 whip. Again, this is AAA level. So like he has been outperforming everything that we saw from 2024. I went through a couple of other things for him, talking about like the illustrator. And, so far, really nobody, he's not throwing out anything to the zone here. It's been pretty darn good. I think he's going to be all right going forward. This is just such a big number inside the dome here in Toronto. And I think that that's where I just find this under to be much more intriguing. Now, another thing I always like to do is odd conversion. Now, this is something I'll do on the side a little bit too, but minus 102, that is the number that we're getting right now on the under. And this is portfolio AV over here. I'll slide that to this side. I feel like his 29% K rate is unsustainable. It absolutely 100% is. Like that is, I should always show these comments too. 29% K rate is unsustainable for him. Again, 2-game sample size. If somebody throws a gem where they have 10 strikeouts, it's going to bolster it 10 out of the 20 batters you face. Just off the top of my head, a 50% K rate is not going to be sustainable here. And 29%, I think, with this specific pitch mix is interesting. But this comes down to me looking at an Atlanta lineup so far this season that I think we can all agree has been underperforming. And we'll get into my boy Grant Holmes, who this is not pretty. Like seeing bright blue on this screen is not pretty. But I think he's a lot better pitcher than this. And Easton Lucas is actually the guy I'm a little bit more concerned about. Take that for what you will. Not so much so that I want to be taking the plus money on Atlanta right now. Maybe my guys, Kyle and Toast, will talk about that tomorrow because I'll be jumping on Kyle Kerm's show talking through some of this research. But I think we've got some positive regression coming for Atlanta. And yet, man, Drake Baldwin every day, Matt Olson, Austin Riley. I mean, you just go back to the Spritz leaderboard and we have much more sample size on batters than we're going to have for pitchers in the early going of this season because, well, they play most every day, or the main ones do. I am just basically looking at this Atlanta as having to positively regress, but still 182 batting average against left-handed pitching is so egregious. And some of these individual batters, as you start picking them out, and that's where I really think this roster resource. Oh, I was on Toronto because I was obviously doing that before the show. I think Atlanta has obviously some major league hitters. Michael Harris is a major league hitter. Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna, Matt Olson, Ozzie Albies when he chooses to actually make hard contact sometimes. Brian De La Cruz was a top 3 hitter for the Marlins last year. Jared Kelnick had a fucking rabbit's foot up his ass all of last year. Shout out his family if they're watching. Hit the like button. I look at this still as something where we're waiting on some run creation coming from these boys. And if you just go to roster resource, again, this is another great thing to be checking every single day. And I usually use it for bullpen usage. Bullpen usage is almost always going to be listed right here. You can then see the listed of the last 6 days. So we can see exactly who got utilized in what starts. So obviously Sunday, not quite listed here. That's part of the territory. And so you have to jump into places like ESPN to pull up that. And this is just kind of, again, my process night before. Done this forever. So let's take a look at Atlanta. They were in Tampa Bay. They're traveling north of the border for tomorrow. Some people are going to point to, oh, they're traveling, short rest. They played the late game that one day. I don't care about stuff like that. I'm not the trends guy. I'm simply a data guy who is going to look at bullpen. Now, Chris Sale did not have his best stuff today. Tampa Bay got to him early. They go Johnson, De Los Santos, and Peterson up next. So I would fill in the gaps on this. And I already have for us because, again, that's part of doing this live. I am looking at this Dos Santos, power rank pretty low as far as a reliever goes. We've got ourselves Dylan Lee. I think most people would look at Raisel Iglesias. He's been the guy there. They've had Kenley Jansen in stock there for once it's like 2 years ago or last year. But Raisel Iglesias, he's worked 4 days there, so I'm sure he enjoyed the Sunday off. Way to go, guys. Just get blasted and I don't have to deal with it. But I kind of like the fact that it's still intact with the main guys. Again, Pierce Johnson pitched, but there is no doubt that he could pitch again. 2014 pitches Sunday. So just imagine that this is the Sunday column. He had Saturday off and he's good to go for tomorrow. So if they need, they have their closer, their setup guy, and everybody intact. So when I am grading out plays between, Eric, why is it that sometimes you go towards total runs on the game and sometimes you go to the first 5 total? Well, the first 5 total, I'm really trying to capture just starting pitchers and just the lineups that we have before us. You're probably getting the 2.5 turns through each lineup there within that 5-inning sample. And then I can simulate the games out that way. When I'm doing it this way, I think it just becomes a lot clearer to me that we're running into value here. And again, under 9 minus 102 is what we've got best listed on this number. We have 9.5 minus 160 at Fliff. I think that's a little bit juice heavy. You do some of the odds conversion for it. Now, the most popular numbers in baseball that you land on are 7, 9. So yeah, it makes sense. 9's a push. If you want to have that hook, sounds great, but it's not worth 58 cents in my opinion. So again, that's just simply going to odds conversions and having that all situated. But I already have this preloaded for you. We're minus 102, implied odds, 50.5% of the time. We need that game to stay under. And I feel pretty good about it because our guy, Grant Holmes, he's going up against a Toronto lineup that we'll pull them up here on the roster resource. You and Ben Willie. I can't think of any more. Nuke. Oh, you guys are looking for the exclamations. You guys want to have the fun stuff show up. Yay. We'll work on that. Now, obviously, this is different for Grant Holmes. For those that aren't familiar with Grant Holmes, the guy had some nasty stuff last year, that's for sure. You go through his repertoire, 42% fastball guy, 30% curveball, 24% slider. Pretty straightforward. Now, sometimes you'll see minor discrepancies between Savant, between Fangraphs. Again, it's just simply where they're outsourcing their data from. And I'm going to go to the Savant side a lot of the time too, as like a tiebreaker, because hopefully MLB is running their product correctly. I don't know what this like minimum 6 innings starting pitching crap that they've talked about recently, but that's neither here nor there. This is simply talking about why I think he could find success tomorrow. Now, we've got a guy who's last year throwing a lot of sliders, mainly to righty bats. Okay, so righty bats. Look what's happening against righty bats. It's not the most effective pitch by any means. 235 expected batting average. It's better than the 251 above, but the results were obviously a little bit worse. And that's when we can talk about BABIP, but we can talk about some other things. But so far this season, Grant Holmes been getting hit up a little bit. Obviously, you do not want bright blue in this category. You don't want expected ERA up there. You don't want to get yourself in a lot of trouble here with the walks, the barrel percentage, but kind of what we did last time out. Let's look at these lineups, shall we? Philly, the Dodgers, and the Padres. Now, I don't know about you, but I would find those to be 3 pretty damn good baseball squads so far. In fact, let's take a look at their numbers against righty pitching. Dodgers, we've got a 130 WRC plus. Okay. We scroll on down. Philly's actually not as good against running. I thought they were a little bit further up. It didn't help to have 0 against Libertor today. I can tell you that much. Good job. Good effort, boys. Way to go. Whee! Anyway, my point between the Dodgers and San Diego, where did they go? I'm just going to have to alphabetize it because I'm absolutely a dunce cap. San Diego, 128 WRC plus against righties. That is really good. They're way up there. That's why. So you had the Dodgers, right under them, the Padres, and to round it all out, the Phillies, where usually if you just group it by ISO, you'll see Philly up there. But yeah, all the way down here right now. But 102 WRC plus. So still above league average where you're looking at the 100 number. 17. So yeah, not as good as what I was expecting. But I look at the quality of those squads compared to Toronto and 95 WRC plus. 256 batting average so far? Like, you're absolutely kidding me. Well, 305 BABIP. That is the batting average of balls in play. That is wild as far as what you would expect from them, because 305 puts them top 10. That is a large number to have 305 batting average on balls in play. So Atlanta so far, yeah, they've played some tougher teams when Grant Holmes is on the mound. And so Toronto, this is definitely his easiest matchup. Now, he's not going to get a lot of strikeouts here in this spot by any means. So we do want to be a little bit conscious of what we've got from the Toronto side. We were just walking through this. I want to talk about it. You guys want to talk about something? Yeah. 158 people watching. You guys are the absolute best. We're just going hardcore nerd baseball today, and I love it. I love it. I love it. But all right. And this is just for one play, by the way. This is why this takes 5 hours, because it's a lot of structuring this and then putting in your own personal sheets and having an opportunity to truly make it sing. And this is where did Toronto go? Because they were in that shootout. So we were on the over in the premium Discord today, which again, Friday was a disaster. So I'm not going to even brag or do anything. Actually, I'm a liar. You know what I'm going to do? Nah, we're not going to do that now. We're going to walk through Toronto and what they've got as far as their availability. I had Toronto here waiting in the wings, and we've got a much better bullpen so far this season with Jeff Hoffman, Yimi Garcia, both of them, two very noted relievers and have been forever. You have the age directly on the screen as well. Chad Green. I've always liked Chad Green. I'm kind of a Chad Green guy, but better over the last 14 days. Good thing it's been like, 21 days of baseball so far? Anyway, pick'em sites at the end. Yeah, Capiticella. We can talk a little pick'em and maybe talk through some individual bets, but do want to fly through some of the games that we have before us and maybe do more of like a overview of each and some of the other bets that I've got circled that I'm probably going to be clicking after this show, because I want to make sure they post right when they go in here for the premium Discord and they get the best numbers. And well, you're getting some freebies and I love you. So anyway, Jeff Hoffman, Yimi Garcia, Chad Green, Nick Sandlin, two lefties that we have in the pen. So I'm always kind of noticing a little bit of what we've got in terms of availability there. Who's on the injury list? Are they available here? Dalton Varsho. This lineup's going to look better with him than some of these other guys that have been catching here lately. That is for damn sure. Max Scherzer still waiting on his debut. Yeah, for those who don't know, he's in Toronto. And Alek Manoah, we all miss you because it was fun to target you the last 2 years because it's pretty apparent things had gone south and south quickly. So anyway, we've got a pretty decent construction of guys here. As far as the lineup, nobody that's killing war game, that's for sure. It's been a pretty abysmal lineup. So they've been getting it done with this pen that has been, I would say, above average, above league average for sure so far. Obviously, these guys at the bottom end, they're eating innings. They're guys who are in blowouts. So I try not to take too much stock. Like Yariel Rodriguez, he was a guy who was a back-end starter for them at the tail end of last year. And definitely somebody who's rotated in and been like that fifth, sixth starter at times. But he's been in the pen just eating innings and getting blasted whenever he shows up at the end of games. So usually you don't want to see Yariel Rodriguez in a game that you have an under or things have probably gone south already. And Jose Barrios, thank you for giving us up all that goodness. But Easton Lucas, he's number one so far this season. Last 14 days, number one power rank out of pitcher. I mean, that is unsustainable. His stuff isn't that good. We just worked through some of that overview of his stuff. Velocity's down a little bit, but again, the spin's down as well on the fastball. There's going to be some negative regression as he gets into some of these difficult matchups that all exist in the AL East and elsewhere in baseball that aren't just the Washington Nationals. That's for sure. But anyway, that's not here nor there. This is Grant Holmes, my dude. I like his stuff. I think overall, you work through some of the stuff plus here on Grant Holmes too. I think there's just a lot of really good signs of things to come. And then Zips and Steamer, this is probably the other thing to talk about. We've got projections, year-long projections that year in, year out, just beat anything that you can find across the industry. And I'm going to minimize this a tiny bit, even though my eyes are going to have to squint now, purely because I want it to all show up on the screen. So you have down here Steamer, Zips, Oopsie, the bat. I mean, he does such a great job. So Derek Hardy does a fantastic job with the bat as well. A great information to pull in every single day. Somebody that I find to have really sharp projections year long as well. And then Zip, Steamer. Yeah, I like to aggregate a lot of these and have an idea of where they think the baseline is for specific guys. Now, Grant Holmes so far hasn't been pretty, but he's had a 286 BABIP, which is a little bit lower than what's expected at every single industry consensus. And then you've got a 212 average. It's pretty good so far. He's outperforming some of that down here. 4.66 xFIP, which is not the droids you're looking for, but I think there are some positive signs to take out of what we've got so far from him. One, we are going to see, I think, pretty good splits here. He's not really throwing the curveball whatsoever to righties. He's just blasting fastball sliders. A slider where it's going to be breaking away from the righty, a lefty where it breaks away from them. That's kind of the whole point of this is like, or the curveball, it's moving in towards them. Yeah, that's what I meant. Slider, it's like coming in on the hands of the righty. There. I fixed it. Anyway, we've got ourselves an interesting chasm here. A lot of swing and miss to righties. A lot of swing and miss. And swinging strike rate, where did that go? Yeah, the whole point that I'm getting at here is breaking down all of his pitch mix here, going through some of the info on it. I think we've got some positive things coming for him. Now, I'm not impressed so far this season, but I do think we're going to see, yeah, there we go, swinging strike rate, 11.4%. This is going to come up, or I'm going to look like an idiot about liking Grant Holmes. And I think most people that I've talked about in the industry do like these three pitches for him to some extent. Is he like elite with these three so far? No. Again, it's not been as good of a start to the season, but if we can get him around a 15, 16% swinging strike rate, if we can improve a little bit on the walks, which have been a major, major issue, well, I think we're going to be seeing some really good starts for Grant Holmes. And I think it starts here against Toronto. So I like the under of 9. Once again, just to repeat for everybody joining in maybe a little bit later, we found ourselves to it because it all comes down to price and probability at the end of the day. Like, we want to make bets that exceed this. We want to know what our edge is. So I have this at a 54.2% expected win percentage, which if you go to our resources page, we can go to calculator. You could basically just say, oh, expected value calculator. So I have it at 54.2. This is how I do my stuff. And I've got it right here for you, 54.2. And then minus 102 is the odds. And we're going to hit enter on that. 54.2. And I wagered $51 on that. 7.34 expected return. 7.34% expected ROI. So that's going to be higher than we find in a lot of the plays right from the get-go here. Depending, I mean, right now it's starting to aggregate portfolio EVs, aggregating some of the data. It's starting to roll in is what I'm saying, not even aggregating. It's just simply rolling in the data right now. So we're starting to get some things that are popping. San Diego Padres money line, that's kind of fascinating to me. Pittsburgh money line, that's pretty juice heavy, but we've got all of ProfitX now showing up here, no VIG. So no matter where you live, you have access to the best numbers. And I do think some of the best numbers. I'm just supremely impressed by how much of money I'm saving betting at ProfitX and no VIG now. So check it out. I think both of those have promo code Lindy going too, if you're so inclined. Yeah. Anyway, that is bet number 1. Why don't we do this? Let's take a breather quick, shall we? Let's take a little breather. Everybody enjoying the tunes? Our vibes high? Hit the like button. Bobby Witt is going yard tomorrow. Who's going yard tomorrow, Eric? Well, this is a great opportunity to kind of throw out a couple of those plays for you. I think we can talk through how we can start to get a grasp on who are some of the home run hitters Eric has interest in. Now, I know that my awesome guy entails Jedi Modi, Matt Modi. If you guys haven't checked out his videos, phenomenal dude. I think out on the interwebs, giving great information as well. He likes Ballpark Pal, a lot of other things. I think we go about it very similarly and very differently at the same time. It's probably like a 50-50 split, but hopefully going to be doing some stuff with him here shortly, making some videos maybe here on X or on YouTube for you, talking through a little bit of that. But let's talk through a little bit of barrels and why I think one thing that I think goes underappreciated is when you get guys who strike out a lot, maybe a Pete Alonso, an Aaron Judge. What happens when they face a guy who doesn't necessarily strike out a lot of bats? Let's head over to Kansas City and the Yankees. Now, I did all the weather before this, so I can pull up my corner of the map and let you know exactly what weather we're dealing with for tomorrow. But again, I said it's price and probability at the end of the day, because that's what it's always been. That's what it will always be. And when you can't outperform, when you can't find bets that beat out the VIG, again, that 7% number is a little bit off. I think it's a little bit high. I usually give myself about a 2%. If it's only going to be a 2% expected value, I'm not going to bet it here on these videos for you, because I need to have at least a built-in mistake here night before, knowing that there aren't all the books out yet. I always want to make sure that I'm giving the best possible bets that I can for you. And as such, I will totally admit that 2%, it's not going to be 7.5%. It's going to be closer to the 5.5% number. That's just from doing this for a long time and knowing that, this is probably not going to be where it necessarily pulls out. But I'm pulling this up. And my weather forecast for tomorrow, wind blowing across to the left field pole, 60 miles per hour. 60 degrees. That would be crazy. 9 miles per hour, and then gets a little bit cool with some precipitation. We do have some rain concerns across the board for tomorrow. I'll break some of those down, but let's talk about Seth Lugo. Now, Seth Lugo last year made me want to bash my brains in. Just absolutely absurd stuff from him. 3.75 expected ERA, 3.0 ERA. I mean, you couldn't have ran better if you were Seth Lugo. And you add in that he is 35 years of age now. He has a pretty decent, there's a lot of guys who have like 3,000 pitches like each year forever. Like, go through Aaron Nola. I won't do Aaron Nola right now, but just once again, doing this forever. Do you do your play-by-play sims for props? Ooh, this is why I love doing this. Lindy, do you do play-by-play sims for props, or is it more research-based? I do my sims. Now, my sims is a little bit different than what we have at Stochastic, but it's kind of underneath the same umbrella. I do use AI for it, and I think it's fantastic. It's obviously something I brought into my approach 2 years ago, and once you back test and you're throwing together just basically the lineups, the expected WOBAs, I like to use XWOBA the most as far as like each individual batter, and then doing it by splits. And then I'll weight the bullpens based on how many arms they have or which ones are the really good arms. Because if it's a bad lefty going up against a good lefty, that being the hitter, who's the good one, I don't really care as much. And I'll allow for it to happen. But baseball is a game with so many events, so many things, and yet it all comes down to its core. What can you predict well, and what can you not? I think we can predict pitchers way better than we can predict batters, which is why I think the market that if you have an edge in the most strikeout props, those are going to be very, very advantageous. What was bet number one? Bet number one was the under of 9 runs for the Toronto-Atlanta game tomorrow. -102 BetMGM. That is the best available line. We'll see if Novig, ProfitX, if some of those other spots potentially have something where you can get it even money, maybe plus money side. That would make me very happy. But I do think we can find Easton Lucas negative regression at the same time that we can still find some room for that under 9. You have to tell your boy Toast to stop blindly betting the Dodgers. Yeah, I haven't been blindly betting the Dodgers for like a week and a half because all the numbers caught up to it. Great show. Oh, Abel Polanco, I really appreciate you. All right. People wanted dongs. Today we learn. Yes, today is more of a learning experience and me talking really, really fast. How are we already 35 minutes into this show? What? San Francisco team total. Those bats are hot. We will talk about them here in a second as well. Pirates money line. Man, I love all of this. Hit me with a lock, Linda, man. I can do that too. All right. Also, I can't get in your Discord server for some reason. DM me at Eric Lindquist over on X. I will fix that for you. Anyway, let's go back to Seth Lugo. Now, we start going into some of the other fun things that you can do over on the old Baseball Savant. But the main thing being, I just love breaking down pitchers over and over and over again. It's truly disgusting. And I think my wife is concerned about me. And I think she should be to some extent. But I just find each one to tell like a different story about what's going to happen in the future to them. And there's really sharp guys out there on X. I think most of them have fortunately done some content. I've been fortunate enough to do content with them, is what I'm trying to say. And so kind of learning through osmosis to some extent. But look at this. We are seeing no strikeouts against righties so far this season. And you go back to 2024, same deal. No strikeouts really to righties whatsoever. Well, there's a couple of righties that you might be aware of in the New York Yankees lineup. There's one in particular that I think really is interesting, and I haven't bet him one time all year, but it is actually my second play of the day. I didn't even think that I could get a number that was going to reflect it. And I think, let me take a look. Take a look. It's in a book. Now you guys see how insane I am behind the scenes. Total home runs. Yeah, it's not going to be up yet. But my first 10 data has this as a play. So we're going to roll with it. Now, what do I mean by that? I take the last 10 days. I basically figure out exactly where things are going to drop. Now, I'm a tiny bit worried because I think it's pretty apparent Seth Lugo has some stuff going on, but let's dive into it. Seth Lugo, identical miles per hour on the fastball. So not a velocity dip. Curveball, it's down a mile per hour on the off-speed stuff, but 29.6% whip percentage. The thing that this really isn't encapsulating is the splits. And again, we're seeing a K per 9 right now of like 4 for him. You go down to the advanced, you have the K rate. Yeah, 20.4% K rate there this season. 10.5% so far. Again, it's 2 starts. So like we're not gonna get our panties in a wad or freak out too much about things, but I do think it's at least worth noting that if we see a dip in his performance to righties early on here, you kind of want to be early to the party on these things. This makes me think it'll somewhat center itself soon. 375 BABIP is a big number. I mean, we're just looking at the standard 300, and lefties may be unsustainably good, righties unsustainably bad, and then the xFIP actually worse to lefties like you would expect a righty pitcher, most righty pitchers, to have. But with the wind blowing out towards the left field post in New York here, Aaron Judge just got done having a pretty lackluster series. And whenever you see that, I think the numbers kind of calibrate in a way where I don't care about recent form as much as most people do. I really actively try not to care about if a batter is, quote, hot or a batter is, quote, cold, purely because I think over any long-term sample, you're going to just run into the approach changing. Now, if something is way off, if something is really affecting them, it could be a problem. Like Vlad's start. Vlad Guerrero is off to a horrible start, and yet, explain this to me. He's hitting the piss out of the baseball. He's not striking out. It's just a stretch where maybe the ball isn't finding the gap. Maybe there's some other stuff. Now, I hope he does absolutely nothing tomorrow, but even still, just because he has no homers doesn't mean that he's not being a winning baseball player or an effective baseball player. Would you want this to say 5 if you're the Toronto Blue Jays? Absolutely. But for the most part, these are the things that matter. And you drop him into Yankee Stadium for half of his games. Bet it looks different, don't you? And that's where you also have the opportunity to kind of visualize it. And that's why we have these visuals up here so you can see each ballpark. Oh, this would have been a homer in this ballpark. This would have been a homer in that ballpark. You can do that for each individual game log. And this is something that checking out my guy Modai, that he does very, very nicely. But yeah, you can break down each specific one. We can go into the individual spots and kind of find out exactly whether or not we should be expecting some more home runs in the future. I'm going to answer yes, we will see them more, even though not really like a homer guy. That's why. Hit the ball hard. Got to get it in the air. Got to get it in the air. And George Springer, I think, left with an injury today, too. So I'm hoping he's not in the lineup. He's had a pretty darn good opportunity. But Seth Lugo, I think we're just looking at like Aaron Judge de jour. Again, Aaron Judge. Now I will go into like recent sample stuff. Aaron Judge. Let's go to the surface numbers. Because on the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. I hope. I freaking hope. But yeah, pretty little quiet series. Hasn't had a home run in 5 days. Oh no, what's going to happen? We're going to bet Aaron Judge to homer at anything greater than plus 190 tomorrow. That's what's going to happen. So Aaron Judge just looks, I mean, he's Optimus Prime. I mean, there's not a lot to say about his batted ball data because it's stupid. 16.9 degree launch angle, 59% hard hit. Every time you compare him to anybody, again, that's always fun to do. I mean, bat tracking, bat speeds north of 77 miles per hour. It's now under it, whatever. 76.8 miles per hour. We're just looking at ridiculous stuff here through and through. And then kind of the weird thing, I mean, he's just always bashed righties. Lefties, I mean, he's just taking their soul apart right now. But Seth Lugo having a little bit of righty problems, Let's round it out with this. Eric, he hasn't given up a homer to righties yet this year. Do I care? Ask me if I care. He's not really like a homer-prone guy as is, but look at his career numbers. Almost identical. Lefty-righty in terms of the home runs allowed. Batted ball data. Everything is intact here. For my chalkiest home run player, I think, of the year, not just because I'm doing this show, but because the math, I think, is going to allow us, after 5 days of, forgot about Dre, or in this case, forgot about Judge, we're going to be betting him. So I'm very excited. Goldie has insane BVP versus Lugo and is leading MLB in xWOBA. Ooh, well, let's take a look at let's take a look at that. It's my show. Do what I want. Goldie. All right. Goldilocks looks lovely right now. So the thing is, Paul Goldschmidt is awesome. He's always been awesome. He continues to be awesome. In terms of home runs, this isn't going to matter as much in Yankees Stadium. He's going to still find his way to the barrels, 9.1% barrel percentage. If he barrels it in Yankee Stadium, it's going to be like yonder way quicker than one. Let me just say, like, especially once we start to get warmer temperatures, you're going to see Paul Goldschmidt really take things for a ride. But my biggest issue with him, he was leading off. We can double check this because I can rerun this. Because I don't think he led off last time out here. Maybe I'm crazy. Don't forget that boy told you kick that dirt off your shoulder. Okay. He went to the 2-hole against lefties. So we're against righties. We're going to continue to see him lead off. So that's Ben Rice. Yeah, Goldie. Where did Goldie go? Because it's wrong in my sheet. Yeah, he's been batting clean up here the last few. And then Jazz Chisholm decided to hit a home run today. Maybe they flip-flop them, but I doubt it because left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Switch. Are you posting this after the stream? I'm continuing to stream. I'm going to do this for at least an hour. If people want me to stick around and talk about more bets or more process, I'm more than happy to do it. But Paul Goldschmidt, I think it's just starting to get a little bit interesting as far as some of his pricing. So we'll get some props tomorrow. I'll probably be able to break down some more stuff in the morning for you, and we can kind of recap that. But let's go game by game here and do kind of the overview. Starting off with Brad Lord versus Paul Skeens. Guess what? There's going to be a disparity in the pricing of these two. But if you're not familiar with Brad Lord, he's kind of an interesting guy in general. Number 22 on a prospect for the Nationals. Not the best case of talent because pretty much anybody who has it is with the big league ball club now. Like Dylan Cruz, you want to talk struggling. Dylan Cruz is actively struggling. James Wood is not. He decided to go Super Saiyan. Again, I don't talk about hot streaks, but he is on one for those who care. But Brad Lord is very, very new. And we don't have a ton about him, but we've covered so much that has to do with Paul Skeens. I think, guess what? His numbers continue to be good, even if he hasn't been awesome, like his dynamic awesomeness to start the season. If we start to see some more telling signs, it is what it is. But here's my thing. There is a huge discrepancy with his xFIP and his expected ERA. And I do think I'm going to buy into more of this early than I am this. And a couple of reasons why. Go to AAA for him. Pretty decent sample size. And then the MLB, so international, the good stuff. They're little league action, 129.2 innings pitched. Not a ton of strikeout stuff at the big league level. So one thing you'll see for guys like this, they get called up, then the book comes out on them, and then batters adjust. And when batters adjust, you're going to see worse results going forward. I really do not think you ever want to buy high on a new pitcher coming in who is not getting swing and miss. And obviously, there's not a ton of swing and miss here in the repertoire. He is going to probably find himself getting shellacked. The problem is the price. These are the kind of prices that you have to lay. Minus 210. And we just go up here again. I want to pull calculator. And where'd it go? My brain is just not operating this late, but minus 200. We got to win 2/3 of the time with Mr. Paul Skeens on the mound in order for this to work out. Yeah, that's not going to be a good thing for me because he's playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And you can see even here from a market-based approach, the edge is pretty darn in favor of the books on both sides of this where it's currently priced. And I think this is definitely a spot to be staying away from at the moment. This would be going in the lean category. If I had to go to anything whatsoever, I do think there's really some stuff to talk about with Paul Skeens. What's going on with this? Huh? 0.82 whip. He's just better than last year in terms of that. And yet, I mean, he's gotten unlucky so far. He's gotten unlucky. Like, I'm not going to be going to the run line here on Pittsburgh. I'm not going to be doing anything there. Minus 210 on that Pirates offense is criminal. That is exactly my point. I think everybody can kind of see that, but I'm going to give you the love that you deserve, Clebo Dalcott. I think I said that correctly. I hope so. Under is a lock. Yeah, it's an interesting spot, but once again, you have to really want it. You have to really want it. So I did back Paul Skeens' first 5 twice this season already, and 1-1 on it is what it is. It's fine. He's Paul Skeens, but you're now getting it inflated. This just, we shouldn't do this in baseball. Even though he's been as insane as it gets, we're just not going to be going that direction. So this game, pretty much an entire stay away from me. For me, I had one prop from it that I was circling the wagons on. If you want to see where the opening number is going to be for him, for Paul Skeens in this spot, Washington versus righties. Where'd it go? They're not going to strike out a ton. And they've been a little productive. 111 WRC plus, mostly James Wood, if we're being honest. 181 ISO, almost all James Wood, if we're going to be honest. I do think the under, if we get like a 7.5, that's going to be, people like the over of Paul Skeens strikeouts. I like unders in those spots for sure, because it just seems like it gets a little bit too much love. So as much as I think Paul Skeens should mow him down, the price is unattainable. And yeah, you're just really not going to want to be doing anything other than taking the under of 7.5 in that strikeout department. You run that over a longer sample size. Pittsburgh has no offense, NFL or MLB. That's actually really funny. Landon Route. Oh my God. Did I say that? Route. Unbelievable stuff to start off this season. And I did enjoy breaking down some of this for his first start of the season. I can kind of remember everything from it, but always nice when you can find a diamond in the rough. 75K signing bonus. Well, he's worth a lot more than 75K this season. Let me tell you that. Holy mother of God. We have found a little bit of something. Now, is it going to continue? That is obviously the major question, because if it does, they're going to have to pay the man his manias. But otherwise, more than likely, we're going to see this continue on because he's good. He's actively pretty darn good. I think he gives up a couple more pull contacts than I would want. Where did that go? Here we go. So this is going to be interesting to look at specific batters, and we'll get to that a different day, a day that isn't the first edition of this video where I'm boring you to death, talking you through every single part of the process. But there is some good stuff. There's some good stuff going on with him. 2 home runs he's allowed going across the ballparks here. It's been a little bit worse, in like a Dodger stadium. Again, I always think about like with the expected stuff, like, well, who's playing center field? Because like Pete Crow Armstrong's going to go catch baseballs. Parishes had the craziest catch yesterday that if they hadn't lost 16-0 would have gotten some love yesterday. But he's still got velocity that can come up. And he's still got off-speed stuff that can improve. We've seen some really good things. Now, when you pitch in San Francisco, that's one thing. When you get out of San Francisco and you're going up against Philly, it has to carry over. And that is where I brought up the weather as well. Looking in Philadelphia for tomorrow, I had this mapped as wind out 64 degrees. All right. So there's that. Philly, they are quote unquote cold for the people now, but he faced Cincinnati and he faced Houston. So those are the first, let me refresh this because it just doesn't want to zoom out on my mouse. 29 more likes needed. Really appreciate it. DK with some horrible MLB contest tomorrow. Yeah, I saw that there were some disappointing ones for a no NBA day. Come on, people. Just absolutely egregious, but is what it is. Oh, I want to throw this into while everybody's watching and hanging out. We've got 200 plus people watching over on Odd Shopper on the YouTube channel. Hopefully some people will want to watch this after the fact and talk through a little bit of process. Lindy was, bro, leans like locks. It's me. What do you make of Taijuan Walker's hot start? Yeah, we're going to get to that. I think we're going to bet San Francisco tomorrow, but I don't know. I'm torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. So Sports Info Solutions. Oh, yeah, we got some good stuff going on with Landon. But Taijuan Walker, is it real or is it fake? I feel like DK DFS talking about touts, of which I'm not one. I don't like to call myself one. I'm just simply a guy who likes to bet and is pretty good at it. Anyway, Taijuan Walker, I guess I tout. I can't hide too much. Taijuan Walker, this is my main stuff with him. All right. Atlanta came out of the gates very, very cold, and then I disregard anything that is the Colorado Rockies. Do you know how many runs they scored this weekend against San Diego? I'll answer just as many as you and I. 0 is the answer. Nada, none, 0. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. I will have to continue on. But now we got to talk price and probability because San Francisco, they've got some stuff going on with their lineup that I really do like. And Taijuan Walker, I think this is going to be a sneaky spot for sure. San Francisco strikes out a lot, 24.7% against righties. And this is going to go up because I don't think this encapsulates today's data yet. And you had Lee just hit 2 bombs, but 109 WRC plus. And you're getting out of San Francisco. You're putting them into Philadelphia. And that is going to be a much better situation. No doubt about it. I do think when you talk about relievers, there's a very obvious problem with San Francisco right now. If you're a San Francisco fan, you know exactly who I'm going to be talking about. But Duvall is a problem right now for San Francisco. I don't know what's going on with him, but Camilo Duvall, he was expected to be the dude, has a cannon for an arm, whatever. This is just an unforgivable type start to his season. 0 WAR, 4.26 ERA. It's actually surprising that it's that good, but what in the absolute world, dude? Can't get a swing and miss to save his life. Walking dudes to some extent. I mean, all of these are high walk rates across the pen. And so we've got some really interesting arms, I think, early on. Randy Rodriguez, I didn't even know who he was coming into the year, and I kind of like his stuff. Tyler Rogers, you get that submarine delivery. And Ryan Walker is hashtag good at pitching the baseballs. So I do think that this is a very clear and obvious first 5, lower the variance, take the side that nobody really wants to, and hope that Rob just continues to see success. And this is why record is almost like irrelevant when it comes to betting some of this MLB stuff, because we're once again, here on Odd Shopper, and you see how many different ways we can go about betting this and try to find our edge. First inning three-way, ninth inning total runs. Obviously, that's just your full game total that you're looking at there. Fourth inning total, like each individual total for each individual inning we have listed there. We have total runs, we have money line, but watch as this changes. And this is what I kind of want to stay away from if Duvall is going to continue to be a headache to me. We have a very tight price here. Plus 107 on San Francisco. This is expected to be pretty competitive. They're not giving Walker a lot of respect. You would expect this to be a little bit more lopsided. They're giving Rapp a lot of respect, but let's go to the first 5 where I don't have to deal with any of the bullpen bullshit unless a disaster occurs for either one of these guys. Obviously hoping that it occurs for you-know-who, but first innings money line, minus 105. I know it's 10 cents, 11 cents difference, but like this is very much telling us a story. And even from a market-based perspective, it's kind of leaning you towards this direction. I would rather just to continue to back Landon Rapp in this iteration because we're talking minus 105. Based on 2024 sample size for Taijuan Walker, you just have to back this Rapp kid way more because Walker is not that dude. He had probably one of the most abhorrent seasons ever last year. Negative 1.1 WAR, 6.94 FIP, 7.09 expected ERA. I mean, just dog freaking doo-doo. That was an 83 2/3 inning sample size. Like, not a small sample size of stuff. Like, obviously less because, they couldn't roll him out there. He was just getting blitzkrieged. But I look at everything with him from last year, 2.58 home run per 9. I think this is really inflated from Colorado. I have to assume that it's inflated from Colorado. And Colorado is going to be the worst team in baseball, not named the White Sox probably. But yet the White Sox have a better WRC plus against righties. 381 plate attempts so far, small sample, 30.4% K rate, 67 WRC plus. Taijuan Walker, quote unquote hot start, but he is very much buoyed by the matchups. Atlanta out of the gate cold. I mean, we can give him the positive for that in Atlanta. Well done, but this doesn't impress me at all. It doesn't do anything for me. So I'm going to back Landon here in some capacity. Minus 105 on the first 5, I think is probably the ideal way to go. Lindy, need a segment called Strikeout Kings, data deep dives on certain pitchers. Yeah, I love to do it. It's truly my thing. Let's keep rolling. More games to cover. Hit that like button. This one is a pitcher who is on the rise. Shane Baz. Holy Christ. Yeah, he good. Now, it's always been a health thing. Missed all of 2023. Came out of the gate last year. Not the most impressive data, but look at what he has started to do. So we've got 4 main pitches for him. He's throwing the 4-seamer, curveball, slider, changeup. And this, obviously, there's a huge gap in 2023 here, but his 4-seamer usage is down. His curveball usage is up. Why does this matter? Well, if you have a good feel for your curveball, look how absurd this pitch is. This is like best pitch in baseball type stuff. Sub 100 batting average, 185 expected batting average. I mean, these are not sustainable numbers for what it's worth. But the only concern you'll ever have for Shane Baz in this current state, the way that he's throwing the baseball, is the ballpark. The ballpark is definitely played small. And my little weather dealio, once again, here in the corner. Carry the 1. Where'd it go? I'll clean all this up. We're going to go 15 over tonight because I have more to talk about. Ooh, I got the props too. I can upload this in the corner. I'm going to upload this in the corner. All right. So we're getting minus 120 here. It's kind of the prevailing number for Tampa Bay. Plus 100. You got a plus 107 at ProfitX for what it's worth over there. But my weather deal is wind out 8 miles an hour, tops. That's the top range. 4 to 5 sustained up to 8. And then, 77 degrees at first pitch. So that's 7 p.m. Local time there for it. But back to Baz. Is he this much better than Tanner Houck? I think we can all probably say no. Like Tanner Houck is okay. Is he that? Yeah, no, he might be that much better than Tanner Houck. He might be that much better than Tanner Houck. This is probably going to end up being a Tampa Bay play, if we're being honest. Just first five again. Let's take a look at that. So hopefully you're starting to see a trend of what I'm looking at. So when you look at the odds screen over at Odd Shopper, okay, one of the things you want to point out is, what does this edge mean? What does this true odds mean? Well, theoretically, based on where other markets or where other sports books have the opening price at, these are true odds. This would be de-vigging. So when you're taking the vig out of something, it's a 50-50 flip at that spot. So, if you had 50% of the action minus 109, 50% of the action on plus 109, you'd expect 0% expected value. Like that's kind of what we're looking at. So we're looking for something on the Tampa Bay side that could potentially surpass this. And I do think the first five, oh yeah, that is the first five side. Ooh, we might be first five like auto click. Yeah, this is going to be an auto click, I think. Obviously, this is not Tanner Houck that we want to be backing in any way, shape, or form. So Bud Sodalski, you demand. No, you demand. You are actually the man. You guys are the man and women for watching this. Really, really appreciate you. He did say that just to make sure that you know that I wasn't lying. Gotta go, but thanks for being here for us, brother. You're very, very welcome. I love to share knowledge and research and also love to learn. So I've been learning from other people, other sharp people in the industry forever. I will continue to, but obviously 3.9 WAR last year. Best season of Tanner Houck's career. We are not going to expect that going forward. And his stuff plus and everything is down the list. Swinging strike rate, even last season, 9.8%. There's a lot of stuff going on. Z-swing, again, inside the zone, it's only gotten worse. So he's gotten worse, but then got better just by giving up contact, pitching to contact, found ways to be successful. I love betting against guys like that, especially when there's a ton of power on the other side. And obviously, Boston has a ton of it coming in from the left side, but I think it's very underrated what we're getting so far from this Tampa Bay Rays team. Jonathan Aranda smacking to base. Cameron Meisner wasn't in the lineup today. I don't know why. Yandy Diaz, Curtis Mead went in the lineup. Also more platoon guy for them. Caminero is going to be very good. I just want to put my flag down on that. Brendan Lau, Jake Mangum. He was AAA batting crown guy. Learned that the other day. Christopher Morel, who this is better than what I think people expect. Like Christopher Morel, this is why small sample sizes are annoying. 268 average, and people just think he sucks. I'm like, yo, I get it. 2024 was not the best year for Christopher Morel, just 21 jacks. He was batting like he got buried by the Cubbies. The Cubbies, for whatever reason, just didn't like him very much. And for what it's worth, I get that this is a concern. I get that when you have to get a guy and acquire him to be a DH, it's not the most appealing way to go about it unless they are just breaking the model in terms of power. But Christopher Morel had stints there in Chicago where it was looking really good, like it was going to come around. I think this ballpark's obviously going to help. And then Tanner Houck, looking at some of his splits. Because I always want to think, oh, you have Brandon Lau who's just going to hit everybody, but mainly a lot of interesting righties and lefties on both sides, I think. Red Sox, you're looking for some of that righty production, but boy, oh boy, not good so far. 2024 was pretty darn freaking good, and specifically against righties. So again, has those normal righty splits. It's kind of what we're looking at, but 318 BABIP against righties last year, 253 there. Had the higher strike rate to righties, was basically suppressing all the hard contact. If he starts giving up hard contact, things are going to be problematic. 757 checking in with you, Lindy. Hello. Love to see you. Thank you for stopping on by my corner of the woods. So anyway, Tampa Bay, first five. I'm actually going to give myself a little bit of that goodness. Music isn't too loud, right? I just wanted to have something in the background. Wasn't just me talking the whole time. Also, this can be available. You might notice Onyx isn't updated on that yet. So yeah, so no matter where you are, you're going to have access to getting some really, really good numbers here in the first 5 market as well. And we're going to get ourselves in minus 115 DK. If you are, no matter where you are, Onyx odds going to be mirroring DraftKings. I think they might have the same provider. Just throwing it out there. Anyway, DK, definitely love this play over there. That's your best available number. First 5. We're going to back Shane Baz here. Yes, scary taking on the Red Sox, where I got some lefty power. But so far, only a 98 WRC plus, 137 ISO. Devers is striking out a lot, but he fixed it. He's starting to hit the ball really, really hard. Alex Bregman's been on an eternal heater and lofting. And Wilyer Abreu, yo, welcome to the show. But anyway, can't even hear the music. You're welcome. Lindy Judge, home run is plus 190 on FanDuel. So literally exactly the break-even number that I threw out there. It's got to be a little bit better. We want to find something plus 200 or better if we can. Throw that out there over on ProfitX or Novig. See what they end up throwing out for you as well. What? What does it all mean, Basil? My Robert Kraft? What's happening? Lindy off topic, but is Toast your art nemesis, the verbal joust over players and plays his pinnacle capper drama? No, I think he's great. I think we go about things differently. I think we both have our own opinions about how to best. And again, for me, it's just simply testing out what I think is going to work. And then when I have a sample size that I think meets the criteria, that's why I very much urge people to bet very, very small at the beginning of the MLB season. Notice how I have not said the word like more than once this season. 0-1 on the video. Go me. But if you take last Friday out of the equation, I'm having a really good MLB season, or I was. And then Friday happened. Basically got blanked. 0 for 4 home runs, 2 for 8, including NBA, though, on the video in general. It was just disturbing, disgusting, awful. But hey, I'm accountable, forthright about it. And we continue on our merry way, still up a little bit on the season. So that's useful. NBA has been crushing the past month. What pitcher impressed you the most yesterday, as in Sunday? Or are we talking? Because, I mean, Hunter Green is setting the world on fire. He's been my favorite pitcher in baseball for years now. And it's all coming together now just in time for me not to have him on any of my fantasy teams. Like, just thank you. It's the games we play with our lives. The best pitcher in baseball right now is Hunter Green. I want to talk about a bad beat today. I was on the under of 4 runs. I did back Mladzinski. Are we going to go in depth into any more homers? I'd like to pick your brain on analysis for those. I would love to tell you a little bit about how I go about that. Tell you how I went like 0 for 4 on Friday, 0 for 2 on Saturday, 0 for 3 today. And yeah, I'm still up a little bit because homers are wild with the variance. You have to just accept it. It comes with the territory. I'm going to start hitting them again. Had the fantastic, was it the last Friday, the double dong of the Carroll Edmund combo that a lot of people had. I played them straight, so I didn't get to partake in that. But yeah, you go 10 and 50. I think that's what I saw Modai post for himself so far. I'm a little bit worse than that so far this season. And, still profitable because you pick the right spots. You get a couple of those long shot ones to come through, quarter unit each. And it's going to look really, really good. Love Baseball Savant. You spend all day there. Well, you're going to spend all week with me here, brother. I'm going to have to learn to be like more time conscious as we go. Because again, this is my first run of this. Wanted to do this and see if people enjoyed it. See if there was any interest in doing it. And obviously want to prove that I'm not just some guy who's throwing out picks on a video night before, because that's just ridiculous and not who I am. We talked a little bit about Lugo already. Let's talk about Carlos Carrasco. Break this one down because he's going to give up major contact again. I think the home run prices that I'm expecting at open for Kansas City are going to be disturbing. Specifically, Bobby Witt. I do think Jonathan India is very interesting in home runs tomorrow, based on his last 10 data. Last 10 data just being the last 10 days. What is his home run price been? I basically accumulate all of those and it updates for me, so I have an idea of where that number is going to open. And then I present to you whether or not I think that that's even an efficient lean, because mostly last year, especially, I didn't have a lot of the numbers night before. I think I'll get more of them doing this show at 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific. Just talking you through everything night before. But Sal Perez, Bobby Witt, I feel bad for Carlos Carrasco. This is going to be very, very problematic for him. Obviously, the barrel is a huge problem. He's struggled big time, and I cheer for him in real life because we know, he had cancer. He was definitely a guy with Cleveland that was beloved, but he's starting to be the right-handed Patrick Corbin, and that is not a compliment. So we got to really... what is it for homers, Eric? Fly ball percentage versus hard hit? That's a great question. So I think it's both. So there's a couple of things that have to happen. Let me pull this question up because I think it's fun to throw it up there. What is it for homers, Eric? Fly ball percentage plus hard rate? Yes, but I think the two things that definitely go underappreciated in home runs is the strikeout rate of the batter and the strikeout rate of the pitcher, the starting pitcher, that is. And then analyzing the bullpens, because you probably noticed this. I don't really bet a lot of the platoon guys because I never think that they're appropriately priced for the risk of them getting 2 or 3 at bats. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Pavin Smith of the Arizona Diamondbacks, talking about Jock Peterson of the Texas Rangers. I think it's very clear cut that they both have a ton of power and they mash baseballs. But Pavin Smith, I think, got 3 at bats today before getting pinch hit for Grichuk, and then Grichuk got pinch hit for Alek Thomas. This is the stuff that when you're in the weeds and you actually watch baseball, that you're going to notice time and time again, and you're going to notice people who have write-ups, and it is just so hard for me to find positive expected value in those home run plays because they have to outperform that 4th or 5th plate attempt that a Corbin Carroll gets. So you see he gets 7 of them. Now, the interesting thing that I think about home runs that people also don't take into account in breaking down bullpens, because like most people are going to give analysis starting pitcher, matchup, and I think that makes the most sense. It is going to be more advantageous, but that's the point, is like bullpens are better than starting pitchers traditionally because you can pick the matchup. You know exactly, what the game and score is. You can play to the scoreboard. But look at this. Pavin Smith, I think he was plus 650 or something in Corbin Carroll today. I bet him. He was a little bit better than plus 400 on Novig. And, obviously didn't go yard, but hit a 111 mile per hour double. That's neither here nor there. Actually, it is. It's literally here. But Pavin Smith, they bring in a lefty. They intentionally walk Grichuk to load the bases because Carroll, they brought him out to do the thing, and then they intentionally walked Carroll in that 8th inning, and I cried a small tear. And then Alek Thomas hit the no doubter. He solidified it. So yeah, Grichuk ends up getting the pinch hit. So plate attempts, I'm projecting out plate attempts that they're going to have within the game. I'm going to project out homers, so the fly ball and hard rate, the barrel percentage, because again, a barrel is 98 plus miles per hour. It's 100, or yeah. So like usually you're looking at like 100 mile per hour off the bat, and you're looking at launch 26 to 30 degrees, kind of the nice spot where you're looking at optimal launch angles. It can be lower in certain ballparks. It can be higher. Again, a 40-degree launch angle today on that home run that I was alluding to a little bit earlier that we saw for Pete Crow Armstrong. Absurdly lofty, but there's a lot of fun things. See Ancho Malik. I can't wait for Lakers and Timberwolves. I really, really can't. Judge will come through for us tomorrow. I have faith that he will as well. All right. For the love of God, I got to get back to this and like actually finish this out for you. All right. So there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. So just want to keep that going for the people here. Graphic guy was touching himself. Yeah, that was me. That was a funny joke. Anyway, we got the home run play from here. We're going to be on Tampa first 5. We're going to be on San Francisco first 5. We're going to stay away from first 5. Let's round out this program. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Hit that like button. We broke this one down already. We have the under from this, so 5 games left to go. Man, I do have more plays on the card right from the get-go than what I was expecting to talk through, so that's cool. And officially got that down on the San Francisco, so that's good. These fucks. All right, let's talk about my Twins. Matt Wallner, I love you. Ryan Jeffers is dinged up. Ty France, whatever. We just had to send Jose Miranda back to the Shadow Realm. Oh, but he had an awesome spring. Great. He's back in AAA. He'll be on Broadway with his cousin soon. I don't know. Probably not. His cousin's very talented. Manuel. Anyway, Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Juan Soto, all coming into Minnesota for tomorrow. Weather report on this one for you, just to once again be reiterating this because I did so much freaking work on this. Might as well throw it out for the people. Would it like to show up eventually for me? Come on now. We got 48 degrees, wind way howling out to right field. So we're definitely looking at an operational Death Star. If there is lefty power being given up by either pitcher, ball thrown into the air, yeah, it's cooler there, 50 degrees, but you're looking at some wind. You were looking at a lot of wind blowing out to right for tomorrow. So that's the first thing. Obviously, weather. I like to bet these as early as possible. I'll usually send an alarm, usually around 5:30, because I like to walk my dog really early and get right to it. But first, I will literally get more bets down as soon as I wake up in the morning, or try to at least, and see exactly where opening numbers are. And it's always fun to say, hey, is this close to where I had it? This is going to be a Soto spot more than likely for me in terms of doubles or some other batting stats, but not like it's going to go overlooked. But Joe Ryan, 20-mile-an-hour wind to right field, and you're a fly ball pitcher. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. So Joe Ryan, I'm kind of neutral to, which normally I like to hate on my Minnesota Twins pitchers. I love Pablo Lopez. He's so unlucky. Joe Ryan, he's just fine to me. Bailey Ober, never been a guy. Simeon Woods Richardson, can't stand him. It's awful. It's absolutely foul. Whatever. He's foul. But Joe Ryan, all the fastball. Not going to work against Juan Soto. Francisco Lindor, he's, I think, tilting everybody, including Mets fans at the moment. But there's a couple of interesting things with Joe Ryan that we could get into. But I don't know how he gets out of this one unscathed to a long ball or two. I don't. He's north of a 20-degree launch angle. And something I haven't talked about too, fly ball rate. Fly balls, line drives, pop-ups. We can basically look at all of this. These are major league average, 23.8, 33 for the career, 33.3 now on the season. No ground ball contact. Like, once again, that's better than last year, and it's still not a number that you're looking for. So that's on all batted balls in play. The thing he's got to do is strike guys out. Now, if he strikes guys out, we'll be all right. And that's traditionally what he's been able to do. 29.3%, 27.3%, but 23.4, just staring at your cookie here. That's not good enough. And it's 2 starts. So, again, super small sample sizes. I feel like I preach that all the time, and I'm just going to continue to. But Pete Alonso, specifically looking at Nimmo, just coming off of another ridiculous series. Look at his batted ball data. I mean, he's just absolutely barreling up everything. 8 barrels so far in 43 batted balls, 217 pitches seen. I mean, we're seeing that's a ridiculous pace and way better than anything he's ever had. But I think there's a couple of things that can explain it. You're getting protection of Alonso and Soto. And Vientos, he'll start putting it together here eventually. He's too talented. He's got too much good stuff. Plus, I think he's doing enough other things. He doesn't strike out. He's getting walked a lot. I think there's enough that Mark Vientos is going to be still all right in putting it together. And then Lindor, he's going to get better than these numbers so far. It's truly only a matter of time. It's not if, but when. And you're going to see protection for that. Brandon Nimmo is having himself a gay old time. Cheyenne, Wyoming's finest for what it's worth. Shout out that. I always like my neighboring states when they have guys. South Dakota, we'll claim Minnesota, Iowa, Wyoming whenever we can. Not North Dakota. F them. All right. Exit velocity, up on everything. Up, 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 up. Yeah, he's just locked in. Great. Late, but running it all the way back. Lindo, appreciate the free content. You're so very welcome. Chaos Complex, I'll give you some love too. A 1-year-old and a 9-day-old. So bro. You know, I'm going to put a betting recap of everything we talked about on X after it's all done, just to make it easier for everybody to find. You can have exactly which bets I throw out. I'm going to have a lot more shown up in the premium Discord, so you can check that out. Also, one thing, I haven't done this the entire show because, again, I've just been wanting to talk through the baseball, and that's kind of been the priority today. If you guys do want to check out, I got to move that thing from the chat. If you guys do want to check out Portfolio EV, which is this beautiful tool that we have right here that is updating in real time, we're starting to get some bets to matriculate in. Matriculating is good. Got some interesting ones here on the top end too. This is purely market-based approach. So not going to be, something that you're originating or putting your own projections to or throwing anything together. And I'll throw something together that looks better than this at the moment. But Portfolio EV looks fantastic all the time. LLL. That's the code. LLL. That's Lindy's Locks Live right there. Because it would be 4 L's if it was Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. That'd be 4. But we want 3 L's there. You guys check that out. It would be awesome. Obviously, it's even better for you. 14 days as opposed to the 7-day free trial to check out this beautiful tool here. You've got, no matter where you are, Arizona, California, you have lots of opportunities to be able to utilize these tools to work for you. Flip. What is it? Profit X. Everything's aggregating here. We've got some FanDuel bets showing up here on the shots on goal department. We're getting close to playoffs. Playoff hockey? Where did that comment go? Lindy, initial thoughts on the Lakers-Wolves series. Oh, baby. We'll break that down a little bit tomorrow. I'm going to be going on Pat Mayo tomorrow morning, I think it is. Going to be breaking down some of the NBA for tomorrow. Very much looking forward to it. Wolves won't beat the Lakers. Get your Kleenex ready. Kleenex for what? No. I do not. All right. Back to the baseballs. But anyway, keep an eye on Brandon Nimmo because just lofting baseballs, hitting them hard, and going up against a fly ball pitcher with the wind blowing out. Obviously, it doesn't guarantee Jag Diddley Squat. It's got to be something we see what that opening number is going to be. Far more confident that Aaron Judge shows up on my card than a Brandon Nimmo. Plus Lindor, I might have to sprinkle him again. I hate everything. All right. Tariq Skubal, we know him by now. Pretty darn good. Tyler Alexander. Here's my main issue with this ball game, and I think you're going to see this a lot with Tariq Skubal on the mound. Minus 160 with the Tigers offense. So far this season, even against Mr. Alexander, who I'm not a big fan of, southpaw with very little velocity. In fact, like nothing in terms of velocity. Where did his velocity report go? Oh, that's on my other screen. That is not going to go on here. But anyway, you should see this. 90-mile-per-hour fastball. Not the velocity you're looking for. He's primarily got to get by with a changeup. The changeup is going to be very, very important to his mix, especially against that right-handed side. And so far, decent, surviving. He's surviving. I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up. We can go by individual pitch mix. There's a couple of different sites to bring that up here as well. We could probably do that and make it work at some point in time. But as I look at your, once again, righties, and then we go to lefties, and both these pitchers on the mound today, Tariq Skubal going to be facing Milwaukee against lefties. Mr. Contreras exists. He's been doing some things. He went, but hey, my Arizona bet won, so that's what mattered. Milwaukee, 80 WRC plus against Southpaws, super limited sample size, but Detroit, not much better, 92 WRC plus. And all of their good hitters, I don't know if you are aware, outside of Spencer Torkelson, apparently, maybe he's good again. I don't know. That'd be great. I guess not for my Twins, but lefty. Not even having that good of a year so far, but people are just going to point to that. Riley Green. Oh, he's hitting the ball so good. Can't square anything up. Square your mother, Trebek. All right. And striking out an absolute metric ton. These are the kind of guys, though, Riley Green, left on left. I mean, you might get a number that exists where we still, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to get that crazy yet this season. Accumulate sample size. There it is. We're back. Jackson Churio. I mean, what a freaking start to a year, bro. Have a slash line. Anyway, that's not my point. My point was simply that this is pretty efficient. And then you go to the total overall. We just got to stay the F away from this. Where'd it go? 7.5. Tariq Skubal is doing a majority of that. The under 7.5 is at minus 118, best available. 7, the primary number here. And Tyler Alexander, how many pitches did he go? Because I didn't put that into my sheet last time out here. Yes, got to go here. That's fine. It's so much easier. So in the morning, everybody gets to be completely lucky and gets to go to scores, probable pitchers. If you're looking for the probable pitchers for the day, this is where you shall find them. Obviously, this is still from today. It's a workaround I've had for a while, so at least I know how to deal with it. It's just a little extra legwork. That's no problem. I love doing it, so we'll be just fine. 4.93 xFIP so far to start off this season, so he's very much outperformed this 2.84 ERA, but I wanted to go to game logs for him here. Take a look at that. Boop. $52 batters faced, 19 batters faced. Yeah, pretty limited. Nothing crazy, but did go 5 2/3 there in Colorado, at New York. So bullpen. You can see that. And then getting a turn through. So yeah, we'll continue to accumulate here for Tyler Alexander. I don't think he's very good. No velocity. Basically change up to righties. That's going to be the thing that has to succeed for him. Would much rather just stay away for the time being at the current prices. Could you recap your plays before ending the stream, please? I absolutely will. Absolutely do that. This one is fun. Framber Valdez and Sonny Gray. I've been looking forward to this one because Framber Valdez, people know I have a big thing for him. That is much worse than we've seen in the past. Framber Valdez has to get ground ball contact. Has to. Because he's always given up hard hit. He's always gotten barreled up. He's always had that be a part of who he is. But the launch angle, I know this doesn't seem like a big deal. 5.8 degrees. It's still not high. It's still staying in the park. Yeah, but it's getting over fielders' heads. Ground balls. The whole point of getting ground balls and being able to execute with those. Again, there's very successful fly ball pitchers. Max Scherzer, I mean, he is exclusively fly ball pitcher. Joe Ryan, who we broke down, traditionally a pretty good pitcher here so far, obviously not putting him in the same caliber as a Justin Verlander, a Max Scherzer, guys who, are Max Scherzer, big time fly ball contact guy, but they're still incredible because it's weak fly ball contact. You're getting hit hard, and now there's more room for it to find gaps, more rooms for problems to happen. And that's what we're seeing in the change in the expected batting average numbers. So far it's been good. And a couple of these last year, again, 252, 234, those are a little bit higher on that end here. But I do think we're going to see 302x WOBA, couple of walks here and there. Why is that not coming up? There we go. A couple more walks this year. That's what I was getting at. And a little bit more swing and miss stuff. I just don't know what to make of Framber Valdez right now. He's so hard to get a grasp on what he's going to be going forward because who you were before has a lot of mileage on the tires. Again, he's still only 31, still has plenty of time. And again, if this launch angle starts coming down again here, if we start seeing that ground ball rate back to like the 60s, like 60% type stuff, I mean, it's just absurd looking at his ground ball rates over the years and like zone swing percentage, zone contact. I mean, he is so freaking good, but fewer chases, not getting as many like way off type deals. Meatball swing percentage. That's so funny. Missed a couple of those, but I mean, the there's no doubt that Framber Valdez, his superpower is the ground balls. Would like to see that number come up a little bit, back to his like 60-ish% numbers soon. Sonny Gray. This is another pitcher that's just really hard to get a handle on, but traditionally been pretty good. Got to face my Twins. Where is it? Come on. Started the season off against my Twins. Everything good. Everything fine. Yeah. Congratulations. Accumulate your win. Pass go. Collect money. Then he got to play Pittsburgh. Then he got to play the Angels, which, in hindsight now looks a little bit better as the Angels have started to figure it out. They are striking out a ton still, but they are definitely hitting the ball in the air and far. And the fastball continues to impress. That's always been the Sonny Gray calling card. I am nervous about this. 35 years old, 15.4% barrel percentage, 6 barrels in 39 batted balls. Look at his career rate. So we do expect positive regression on this number because 8.9 up to 15.4 is just absurd. Like you could maybe say, hey, that's going to be 9 or 10. Like, okay, that's understandable. If it's 15.4, he's going to be out of the league sooner rather than later. Like that's just not, it's not good. Now he hasn't been giving up walks. He's been doing some other stuff well, but now we look at the matchup because Houston against righties, I think are going to be way better than against lefties. We just saw Tyler Anderson mow them down, did we not? 45 WRC plus, just 42 plate attempts. So I don't want to read too much into this, but so far Houston, and you go through like individual batters. Yander Diaz got the day off today, but he's been a reverse splits batter in the past, meaning that he's been better against righties than against lefties. Last year, it finally flipped for him, so that was nice to see. But overall, you go to this Houston lineup, and there's just so many interesting pieces. Jeremy Pena is just rocking the baseball, and nobody cares. Cam Smith, stop striking out. Stop striking out, and you'll be in the majors, and you'll be just fine. You could do better, but you could also do worse, I suppose. Anyway, Jake Myers, Yander Diaz, not a great start to his season, but again, getting up against a righty, I don't know, let's calibrate the young man. And Yordan Alvarez, man. How quiet is this? How quiet is this? Quietly a pretty brutal start to his season, but it's going to turn around sooner rather than later. Still swinging the absolute piss out of it. 77 mile per hour bat speed. Everything's ready to rock for him. So we're not going to freak out too much here at the moment. Anyway, my thing is that game is very, very hard for me to get a grasp on what I want to do with, because I can't really tell if these starting pitchers are going to have problems. Otherwise, I'd be on the over like instantly. Like 7.5 plus money right now. It's just begging me to take the over because it's two traditionally good pitchers, traditionally graded pretty well, but I think they each have their individual awards. We're getting, again, it's like 7-8% difference in ground ball percentage, but that's still enough for me in this spot for Framber to be concerned against a St. Louis team that's at least had some pop, and Houston on the other side. I think that there's positive regression expected for Diaz, for Alvarez for sure. And then, it's blowing out towards right field tomorrow, 66 degrees at first pitch. Decent enough weather. The ballpark obviously suppressing a lot of that, and we can go into ballparks on a different day. We'll take the baseball savant tour, if you will, for some of that. Let's keep it rocking, mama. Don't forget, hit that like button as we head to 2 more games. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Chicago, San Diego. Hello, props. This is going to be Jameson Taillon, and I almost bet Gavin Sheets. I know I talked about the guys who get pinch hit for it and how it bugs me. I almost bet Gavin Sheets in that Colorado series. He was plus 800. I can remember the exact number when I was staring at it. And then my math said I couldn't do it. And I said, all right, well, I'll keep it off the card. And of course he goes yard. Manny Machado doesn't come close. Actually hit a double, but it wasn't high. Anyway, Fernando Tatis, Xander Bogaerts, Gavin Sheets, Manny Machado, Elias Diaz is terrible now, which I don't know when that flipped. Oscar Gonzalez. Kind of an interesting guy in this lineup so far. Jason Hayward hit his first over the weekend. Congratulations to them on 0 runs allowed on the other side. Dylan Cease gives some fly ball contact. Obviously, Chicago Cubs got some dinged up Seiya Suzuki. Kyle Tucker's an absolute god amongst men. 11% K rate. Bro. Nico Horner, 5.3%. Bro. Matt Shaw. Nico Horner stolen base props. That's something I've got to update as well, because I can't believe we're getting in a bad way. Like, it's plus 280 today, plus 310 yesterday. Like, you got to get better numbers than that. Just can't find any value in the stolen bases this year. Anyway, Jameson Taillon found a little bit of form last year, but Wrigley Field, if you weren't paying attention, had a lot of favorable pitching conditions throughout the entire year. And you look at pretty much any starting pitcher there for Chicago, and I devalued them coming into this season ever so slightly, because I think we're going to see Wrigley play more hitter friendly going forward, especially with the lineup that they have. I think run creation will be something that looks a lot better. And I think the Cubs are a much better team. They're, Justin Turner isn't even an everyday player, even though he played twice in Dodger Stadium over the weekend. Michael Busch just smacked the Dodgers around again. Kyle Tucker, God. Seiya Suzuki got dinged up, so Seiya Suzuki, pay attention to his status. Carson Kelly been a sneaky character for this baseball team. Now, this is inflated. He got to hit a home run off of Miguel Rojas. I'm not going to count a home run against Miguel Rojas as anything, but hey, double dong, I suppose, still counts. I just had a double dong. But props here on the San Diego side are bright green for me on my sheet, because Jameson Taillon, you go to some of his stuff that we got going on. Let me double check to see if we got any of those props that dropped while we're at it, while that's pulling up. Refresh. You hit the little refresh button in the corner. I can maybe scrub it up one more time. Let's take a look. Do we have... let's go to Tucker. I doubt it. Yep. Still waiting on props here. So anyway, San Diego, last 10 data has me looking at pretty much everybody in this lineup against him, because Jameson Taillon is none too good. This season, 393 to righties, 184 to lefties. Obviously, you face more lefties. You better have a pitch that works for them. But handedness, I want to go to 2024. And one other fun thing to do when you start breaking this down, I'm going to go to his away games. So I'm getting out of the world that is Wrigley Field, because if you go back to the home splits, look at some of this. So just looking strictly at home, last season, 266 WOBA at home, 336 slugging, only a 224 average. Now, the year before, 293, but I repeat, Chicago had unseasonably cold, and wind was blowing in so many more times than I can ever remember. Wrigley is always the first game that I break down whenever it's on the slate, because I think the win factors are not perfectly encapsulated. I go to winfighter.com. I basically have the Chicago airport. I basically go to that east side, that ballpark right next to the lake. I take a look at where the wind is. And, it sounds more basic than you could believe, but yet there are times that you can get some really advantageous totals or home run numbers rated open, and you do it. So you just do it. But now let's go to away 2024. So keep in mind, 224, 269, 336, everything across there. And let's go to his away. That's worse. Just throwing it out there. Oh, Eric, everybody pitches better in their home ballpark. They have control. It's like every Cubs pitcher. We could do it with Imanaga. We could do it with anybody. Some of the pitching environments last year really inflated some of those stats. Now, we're heading to San Diego, California, some of the better hitting weather right now that exists in the country. And then that'll kind of flip as we get some heat and humidity in the Midwest and east, the Northeast for sure. Southwest, Arizona closed the dome, but Sacramento, what are we going to do with Sacramento here soon? It's going to be some absurd numbers to try to run there. But anyway, my whole point is that I do expect some bad things to be happening here for Jameson Taillon on the road coming off of last year's numbers. He's giving up decent barrels. The max exit velocity off of it's pretty hard. And then you've got just a junk pitch mix, kind of trying to make it work here so far. He's still in the big leagues, still finding ways to be somewhat effective. I mean, he was supposed to be the promised one once upon a time for Pittsburgh. Then New York was supposed to fix him. Just never really had the velo, man. It just went away so fast. 95 to 91.3. Having to just kind of learn to be a pitcher, learn to pitch around it. And, how does he get the swing and miss? Well, very clearly, off speed. I mean, when you already are throwing a fastball 93, most things are going to be off speed anyway. But so far, it's going to look interesting. Curveball exclusively to lefties, sweeper exclusively to righties, basically. Changeup exclusively to lefties. Kind of an annoying mix, but, they'll be all right for it. Arizona Athletics, that was in Oakland, so shout out for at least a decent outing there. But the 6 earned runs there against Arizona. Roof open will do that to you. And then he goes back home and, of course, finds a way to be semi-successful there. Doesn't get the win, doesn't get the decision, but neither here nor there. Not a spot that we're going to talk about too much more because it's going to be purely props on that side. And Dylan Cease probably not going to be picking on him unless something really weird shows up there in the morning. To round it all out, Antonio Senzatella is awful. Dustin May is very, 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 very good. The prices are all going to reflect that to some extent. How much is the question? And the total is kind of interesting here. 8.5 at open. I was staring that one straight in the face. I was hoping it was going to be 8, and sure enough, it was not. So cool. We're looking here at the 8.5s. I think it's somewhat in play. Again, this is purely market-based approach when you're looking at the edge that you get on the side of your screen here. -101, your true odds based on that, where it should be sitting at. I think it's stay away for right now, although the total is definitely the most appealing to me. And again, run line, because that's really the only way that I think you would even talk about the Dodgers here. Actually, it's Colorado from a market-based perspective with +2.5 over at Hard Rock, getting a little bit of love here. But even the run line's -1.5 because Dustin May, one, the Rockies scored 0 runs over the weekend in San Diego. And 2, Dodgers have a pretty good bullpen. I think it's still pretty intact. We'll be able to go through the end of this one. 4-2, another close one. But the Dodgers pitched Miguel Rojas for 2 innings. The 8th and 9th innings yesterday, that being Saturday. And on Sunday here, they ended up rolling out their main dudes. Glasnow went 6 innings. Trinan, Vesia, lefty there, and Dreyer. So those are some really good bullpen arms that they ended up utilizing there. Blake Trinan, he's been doing it. He's been trying to do it for a long time. Or no, he hasn't been trying. He's been doing. There's the joke. I'm tired. Speaking of, this is, again, I've talked about this on the onset. Looking forward to the Major get back this week over in the Discord. Notice Major. Yes, last week was brutal for me. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's why I'm running this thing for 1 hour and 45 minutes and not thinking twice about it because, your boy was not very good. Your boy was not very good last week in the MLB streets. NBA pretty neutral overall. Even NBA got wonky Friday, and then Sunday got some good comeback there from some prize picks, other things too. But anyway, Dustin May is just, I've always loved the stuff. Now, you look through Dustin May here. There's a couple of scouting reports early on for him. Ginger Guard, so great. So great. He hates the nickname, but I love it. Anyway, 4.27 xFIP so far this season. Nothing crazy, but that's got to come up. 133 BABIP. That's so funny. But I love this. This is really what he's getting back to. Getting some ground ball contact. Ground balls are going to lead to low BABIPs. And now you're getting Colorado out there. Oh boy, oh boy. This should just be all Dodgers all day. But once again, how do you even get close to -160? How do you even get close to it? You don't. And it's just not something that you can entertain. And I can't entertain a -2.5. Just never going to happen. So this is going to be a stay away for me. I did have one prop to pay attention to there. That was Dustin May, where his strikeout prop was going to open. because I did have that as bright green. Looking at the split leaderboard here so far, I brought it up earlier. I'm very curious. Because of how good the bullpen is for the Dodgers, you're going to get abbreviated starts for guys like Dustin May. Like, they don't have to pitch all that deep, but we got 6 innings opening day. We got 5, or no, it was 5 the opening day. And then it was, it was the 6 against Washington. Well, his first start, it was Atlanta, but yeah, Washington there ends up going 6. Had only 1 strikeout, which was a little bit strange to me, and went through that game log, and I think it was a little bit of a blip on the radar type deal. 86 pitches. 5 types of pitches. I mean, everything was pretty much in tune for what you'd expect. Just really ran into a spot where I think Washington, maybe they avoid strikeouts more than I thought that they would. 20.4%. Brought that up earlier when we were breaking down. I can't remember who it was. It's been so long. But let's recap some bets, shall we? Because that's really what this is about, is finding you advantageous bets. And if you've been hanging out with me for almost 2 hours, holy mother of God, also, I love you. So we'll start with that. But I hope you're enjoying kind of a different way of going about it this week and this week only. And then, if this is something that I can stop in and do over the afternoons and do Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks live, or during the NBA playoffs, I can break down some playoff series and talk you through some of the betting angles and sites that I like to use, add more funds, dunks and threes, like to go through Darko. Like, there's a lot of really good things that we can do in the NBA streets as well. But I wanted to make content for you during this week, even when producer Jacob was out. Don't know if I'm going to be able to do 2 hour and a half or 2 hours every single night, but we'll see exactly how much time we got. Let's recap. We're staying away here from Washington, Pittsburgh for what it's worth, because none of those advantageous numbers, couldn't find anything there. We're on the San Francisco first 5. I think anything that you can find inside of that minus 110 number, so minus 110 or better. I want to, this Landon Ropp character, Taijuan Walker pitched Colorado. We'll let him prove it to us tomorrow. Shane Baz is off to a hot start. Again, we're going to be going that direction here in this one as well. Again, first five. And then Kansas City, New York. Aaron Judge to homer. The squarest of square plays in the history of squares. And yet, I think anything better than plus 190 is going to end up on the card. So keep that one in mind as well. Going to be keeping my eyes peeled for a little bit of value there. Hopefully we can find something plus 200 or better. 190 was the opening number at FanDuel, is what somebody threw into the chat. Atlanta, Toronto. This one, under 9, minus 102. Currently my favorite play that I found, right around that 7.5% expected value coming back to us. Again, trim that to around 5.5%. Don't want to say that it's something that it isn't. Again, I like to give myself a little bit of wiggle room there where, I'm not going to just bet something with 2% there. If it ends up in that 8, 9, 10%, we'll have to start locking some stuff, but haven't really found any bets that fit that criteria yet this MLB season. The Mets taking on Minnesota here. Pay attention to the Brandon Nimmo home run. I think that one's a very, very interesting one, considering all of his data, his profile, but guessing it might get nuked just because of the hot series that he had in Oakland, or in Sacramento. First time I've done that all year, in Sacramento. So pay very close attention to opening numbers here. Alonso Lindor. It's a fly ball pitcher in Joe Ryan giving up fly ball contact. Detroit taking on Milwaukee. We broke down both of the lefties, talked about, didn't even need to break down Scooball. You know how good he is. Broke down Alexander Moore. I think that it warranted that time. Broke down some of the issues that I have with Detroit and that lineup so far this season. Houston, St. Louis. This one is, I'm going to get a better sense for it in the morning. I just don't want to throw anything out there as a bet that isn't going to be positive EV for you here night before. Never try to do that kind of stuff, but definitely pay attention to some of those pitching metrics that I talked about for the next start for each of these. I put notes in for each pitcher that I think could at least be something to pay attention to going forward. And I have a folder of it where it's just basically like Valdez, check launch angle. And then for Sonny Gray, it's simply like, can we get away from these barrels right now? Because the barrels are a huge, huge problem. The San Diego bullpen could have broke that down too. They are freaking ridiculously nasty here at the moment too. But the Cubbies and San Diego props showing up against Jameson Taillon here. A lot of launch. He's been neutralizing some of the hard hit at times. I think it's a little bit more smoke and mirrors. His 2024 data, I think, is inflated by Wrigley Field conditions a little bit more. We'll break that down a little bit more on Baseball Savant tomorrow, if you care. And then Colorado and the Dodgers, unbettable at the current numbers. We'll see props in the morning, but the last 10 prop data didn't really show up. Antonio Senzatella is terrible. And May, pay attention to May at open, his K prop. I would be looking at anything. I'm hoping we get 5.5 juiced, so inside of minus 120. I would be taking a look at that. You never really know exactly where that opening. K props are going to be your most predictable and the ones that I do feel as though I have the biggest edge long-term with. However, I think the books are really good at setting opening numbers on them. So I doubt we find anything there, but I hope we do because, well, when you're good at them, they tend to come through more than not and the variance is down. So friends, that concludes this Homer Odyssey type soliloquy ridiculousness that was Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks, breaking down the entire slate for you. Almost 2 hours. I'm feeling good, feeling great. Tomorrow's more games, so I'm going to find a way to improve upon this, just speed it up a little bit going forward. And, I got to finish this with an ad read, don't I? It's not even an ad read. It's just, simply, do you guys want to come kick it with me? Know that I'm putting in the research for you. Know that I'm putting in all the modeling that I possibly can night before. And, well, I've been doing this for years now, and I've found ways to be effective at it and be profitable long-term. And if you would like to enjoy the fruits of those labors, well, if I can find the graphic, I will throw it out there. Lindy 5, I'm going to throw a link at the bottom of this video. If you guys want to jump into the Discord, if you want to ask questions about anything that you saw here tonight, if you guys want to, teach me a thing or two, perhaps, if there's something that you think that I'm missing about a specific pitcher breakdown that we went through. Obviously, starting pitchers are a huge, huge part of my process. They should be a huge part of your process, learning how to grade them, letting Fangraphs and Baseball Savant do all of the dirty work for you so you can focus on price and the probability of certain events occurring. And then we can all make a lot of money together. But if I share that, then, well, I have nothing left to give. Then I'd just be a walking portfolio EV tool myself. Which, again, you can also get with promo code LLL and just have bets sent directly to you using the market-based approach, which is fantastic as well. 2 ways to go about it, friends. Origination, station, that is me, but also Portfolio EV is unbelievable. I've been using it more and more and more. LLL. I'll throw a link down at the bottom there as well. It's in the video description box below here on YouTube. So without further ado, I'm going to hit the end stream button and go see my wife and dog who think I've neglected them today. But normally I'm just out here by myself anyway. So until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Monday. Peace.